Welcome back to the podcast. We have a special episode today, something I was inspired to do. I'm calling it a bucket episode. So, throughout the week, the months, the days, I receive these wonderful insights and tidbits from you, from spirit, from my own experiences. And I was like, gosh, I need to share this. I need to share this. And so I'll collect them and then I'll share these with you on the podcast. So I really am excited about this. You're going to have to tell me how you like it. So I also wanted to give you a couple of updates. So I'm going to be updating my brand and I'm taking you along with me, and not in any crazy detail way, but I was thinking about it. I was like, gosh, this would be so helpful. This would have been helpful to me, however many years ago, if someone had just kind of shared a bit of the journey with me. Because right now, my we all evolve as a personal brand, always. I think there's this funny little misnomer that kind of like niggles in the back of our head that we are, for some reason, meant to choose the one thing that we are and just be it for the rest of our decades and lives. And it's an evolution. So, one of the things I'm toying around with, and I'm sharing this with you, and I haven't even fully dropped it yet, is how do I make the Your Energy First work a book of work on its own, and then make working with me something in its own as well? That's what I'd like to do. I like the idea of Your Energy First being its own work, like having it stand on its own without me, because that's the premise of the foundational teaching of Your Energy First. That it's not, I shared with you what I've learned based on my experiences with you, with other people, with teachers, good and bad, through my own experiences. And that's really how we all do it. So, how do I make that book of work stand on its own? And I also am playing around with this idea of how do I, is this meant to be? Is this something I'm meant to do? But do I set it up as a brand that stands on its own that I could one day sell, but have the Emily Marie or the Emily McNaughton be, me, she who does energy work, things like that, right? So these are things I'm toying around with right now. And I talk to professionals about it and I talk to not professionals about it, and everybody has a different opinion about it, which I love. And I'm searching right now for people who have done this. There's some of them out there for sure. And I'm also following the nudges. So when I look at the breadcrumbs that have been left to me by my higher self, by spirit, I can see how it's leading to something like this. So, one of the things we do when you grow a business is you try things on for size and you work it and then you work it and then you tweak it because some things don't work and other things do. So, this is what I am up to at the moment. In the upcoming 6 months, less than that, we're revamping a lot of the verbiage on my website, which I'm really excited about. A little more streamlined. I tend to be a bit verbose. I just want to make sure we're very clear on how this all works. And so we're streamlining that a bit, and we're going to be bringing in the book, and then, of course, more books. And I've streamlined my programs. I've streamlined my programs down to Seasons of Magic Accelerator right now. And then I'll be doing more retreats. So that's where it's at right now. And I love in-person events. It's funny because when you have a retreat and you meet someone in person and you do this work with them, it's like you're connected forever. It's the coolest, in the coolest way. Okay, so first bucket list item of the day. First bucket item of the day, I guess. Bucket list has a different meaning to it. First bucket item of the day is this conversation came up with a couple of clients actually on the same day. And what we're noticing is there is a path for healers and practitioners. To me, there's something embedded in us. And it's more in this lifetime, because I talked to the guides about this. It's more in this lifetime than it is something that's come from the past. That we feel as though, not all, but many people, for some reason, feel like, well, if I'm going to be a healer, I'm going to be a practitioner, medium, or whatever. It's kind of the way our sports system is set up. It's like I have to be the best. I have to go play for the NBA, or I have to be an Olympian, or I have to be sponsored by Nike, or whatever the thing is. And it feels like I just have to do all the things. And then there's also this feeling somehow that has been woven into us and our culture where there is a feeling of uniqueness better than everybody is unique, but this better than or this hierarchy. And I will always be very real with you folks. I have witnessed in myself moments where I could have, if I wasn't on alert, it could have crept in or it could have shown up within me. I can't even say it was something outside of myself. And for me, I've told you that I had that Reiki healer in Seattle that was bonkers. And this was something that she believed in herself. At one point she was like, I'm the best healer in the world or something. And I was like, okay. I was like, wait a minute. Something might be off here. And hence my passion for the way I teach this work, right? And so, however, I can't quite put my finger on, and maybe you can, where exactly this is coming from, but it is something within us that makes us feel. I also think that healing and energy work and intuitive work is actually a bit siloed. And then you have a lot of people come into your practice who you help or who give you positive feedback. And that too, if you're not mindful of it, you can actually allow that to put yourself up on a pedestal. Ooh, yeah. So that's another thing that you got to look out for when you do this work. But you're siloed. So you're not speaking with all the other cool, tushed individuals that are doing this around the world, probably better than us. And so that's kind of one of the things to look out for too is, when I teach Magic Accelerator, it is how do we bring out your unique gifts, what it is that you do really well, really naturally, and how do we hone in on that? And that is something that is so important. I really do think this is something that's going to evolve, but there are people who still feel pretty comfortable in this a little bit more of a hierarchy in the teaching, in the work. And I don't think any of us are absolved from it. I really do believe it's something that as we move throughout our own practice in life and engage with others and share with others, it's just something that you need to be aware of and continue to make choices around yourself. The other thing is people will very well intentionally like try to put you on a pedestal. And so you're the one who has to sit back and choose, how am I going to respond to this? Is it a teaching moment or is it a lead by example moment? Or, how can you receive their good intention and at the same time course correct it a little bit and say, what I've actually come to learn is XYZ, or I really appreciate that. And then, I'll often make a comment about how if you see this in me, it obviously means that this is also within you and within others. So things like that. So why is it that some people choose the path, like one path over the other? And I think this is what's really interesting is that in our society right now, it's like there's a little bit of a fork in the road. There's a little bit of the old school. I do think that there's a lot of this, whatever we want to call it, new school around really genuinely feeling as though deep, deep in your heart, a firm, firm belief that that this is an experience that collectively we're meant to have together, that many, 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 many people, anyone who wants to, is meant to open up their gifts and share them and use them as feels true to them, and that there isn't necessarily that hierarchy. So, but very interesting because there's still a lot of practitioners out there that believe one way, and then there's other practitioners that believe the other. And one of the cool people I was talking to about this, we were talking about how it is okay to stand firm in your beliefs. So if someone, say another practitioner or healer comes to you and maybe talks about their work in that way, it can actually be a moment to say, oh, that's so interesting. And you can say nothing, or if you listen to the last episode where I talked about the having clarity of self and boundaries and how much that's needed to help bring forward this work in the world, but saying, what I've actually come to learn is XYZ. So you'll know when it's time to share something like that and when it's not. I often believe that we're put in people's paths for reasons. I've definitely had people like that be in my life and held mirrors to me. So it's definitely something that is interesting to look at, interesting. Also, one of the things I will be very real with you that I'm curious about. Why is it that some of us are so drawn to having a centeredness and a a choice of integrity when we do this work, and other people just kind of do the work willy-nilly? You know, I have shared, I know very, very well-intentioned healers, well-intentioned, talented healers who over time have become a bit willy-nilly. And I say that very, very, I don't even know what the right word is. In myself, there's this like, I got to take a breath. And I want to continue to watch that as I continue to move forward with this work, I make sure I continue to find myself at my center and be intentional and in alignment with the work that I do. So, because if it can happen to them, it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. And I'm like, but why, why the differences? So it's interesting. It's interesting. And you can have a heart, like I have a heart and a belief that we're all given the option to choose alignment. And I really do believe that. And I really do believe that it is a way that really, really does help all involved. Maybe the topics get lighter from here. I don't know. I got to review my notes. Okay, here's one. Here's one. This was lighter. Moving on. When you set the intention for financial abundance, also set the intention for financial literacy. I love that one. I love that one too because a lot of people acquire wealth and then still have like some of the nerves around maneuvering around it. And when you develop the literacy around it, that goes away. Also, when you realize you're the great creator in your life and you can recreate wealth. So, okay. So, oh, this was another one. Instead of thinking, I need to change this, I need to, release X, instead think, I'm going to be bringing XYZ back into my experience. So if you're thinking, I want to change XYZ habit, or I want to change XYZ about me, or release XYZ, instead of thinking about that, think about what the positive experience would be. And I'm experiencing that right now. I'm bringing that into my experience, or I'm being that in my experience. When we're setting intentions, if you say, I'm bringing that back into my experience versus I am experiencing this now, the difference is it's the act of it continuing to be brought to you. I'm bringing it back into my experience versus I am this experience now, which lands it and resonates it into your current experience. How many? Take a sip of your water every time I say experience. So, another thing, mediumship is not something that you do, it's a connection that helps you and helps others. When Spirit said this, I kind of like when it was one of those mini rock your world moments. And one of the things I teach when you learn how to hold energetic space, when you learn mediumship, pet communication, so much time is spent focused on you, not in my sessions, but often people, when they're training, are focused on doing it right. Did I get it right? And when you actually hold energetic space, you're not worried about getting it right. You're actually concerned about what is needed here. Am I following my gut? Am I following the guidance? Am I bringing forward what this person needs, what I need? You can't be zapped as a practitioner. And you're meant to help these folks. That's the purpose. Or yourself. Some people become mediums so they can communicate better with their loved ones on the other side. Now, does the loved one on the other side want to communicate with you to the same degree you do? That's what you have to figure out. Because in mediumship for yourself, it's just as important, like it is, here and now. If you and I meet, you and I are going to figure out, are we going to become, besties and braid each other's hair? Or are we going to just be like, oh my gosh, so good to see you. Nice to meet you. We may never see each other again. We don't know. But we both co-create that outcome, whatever it might be. And the same goes with mediumship. Now, if you loved your auntie in this lifetime and she adored you, and beep boop, she's on the other side now, chances are pretty darn good you guys are going to still have that really strong, good connection. But if it's with anyone you're unsure about, or you always want to double check. Okay. Oh, this was another one that Spirit just dropping the gems. We tend to look at time in a judgmental way. Whereas in the spiritual world and in your spiritual experience, how can you unwind that a bit? For example, in relationships, typically something short term is bad, longer is good. And they were saying, what if a short term something was healing or activated healing? They were also saying, now I have to sneeze. Hang on, let me pause this just for a second. Oh, wait, now the sneeze is going away. Just like that. Wasn't going away earlier. I was sneezing a bunch in a row. Okay. Short term versus long term. Allowing yourself to appreciate the threads of life at the distance that they are. Look at all of us just elevating over here left and right. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We see the threads of life. Sometimes they're short, sometimes they're long. Could be a job, it could be a person, it could be a home, it could be, in this case, this absolutely lovely client had, oh, you know what? There's a couple of you out there that this has happened with where you have pets short term, and spirit's like, yeah, this is how it's meant to be. And it's like, oh, that's right. That's right. The human experience is not perfectly linear. Oh, yeah. And all of it has really good juice in it for us. Okay, that is it. Oh, this was the other one. Last one of the bucket item episode. Finally figured it out. Bucket item episode is BIE. Bye. This is a bye episode. All right. How do you get closer to your spirit guides? All right. Listen up, folks. Your spirit guides are always close to you. It is a matter of what you are doing. The spirit guides are always doing their job, always, 24/7. They are steady. They are steady eddies. They're not, dipping out to go have a martini because you're not asking them questions. So, spirit guides are steady, and they are also, if you want to feel closer to them, oh, we do deep work here on this podcast. I would have you reflect why. What is it that you're seeking? Are you seeking, are you scratching the spiritual itch? Are you developing that part of yourself? Are you feeling as though you're in parts of your life that just don't mesh with yourself anymore? And you're like, you know what? This job doesn't hit like it used to, and this relationship feels dull, and on and on and on. So as we go through those moments in life, sometimes we're seeking more, we're seeking answers, we just want more meaning to life. And what our spirit guides do is they help us get the answers to our soul. Now, you always have the own answers to your soul. They will simply help give you guidance to help you not access it, but understand it better. Understand it better. And that's the beauty of them. Well, there's a lot of beautiful things about them, but that's definitely part of it. So, okay. One other final piece. In any type of relationship that you're in, and I have touched on this before, but the spirit dropped this in my ear 4 to 6 times today. So it's being added to the bye episode. Any relationship you're in, any experience you're having, you may feel like something is dull and boring or hopeless, or maybe it's good. Maybe you're like, I should be so grateful for this friend or for this partner, or whatever the thing is, right? Parent, kid, whatever. And you're like, but I just want more. There's something more I want. First things first, realize they don't give it to you. The other person doesn't give it to you. You give it to yourself. Numero uno, gentle reminder. Sometimes I'm having to constantly remind myself of that. And then set the dang intention for it. I would like to experience more of X, Y, Z. It doesn't matter if for the last 5 months, 5 years, 15 years, 50 years, you've only experienced something a certain way. Oh no, that would never happen with so and so. That would never happen with so and so. You have no idea. You have no idea. Set the dang intentions for what you want and be really honest with yourself. Don't try to, oh, but and then it's like this, and I hope, no, say the thing you want. Say the thing you want. Do it. Why wouldn't you? If you can't be honest with yourself in your own head, where can you be? So let it rip, set those intentions, and watch the relationship, especially you, shift and unfold. And you know what the sneaky, sneaky thing is about that? You will end up getting what you want, and it will teach you a lesson along the way. And you will be all the more wiser and happier for it. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And if you have any questions you want to throw into the by episode, or just in general for me, for the podcast, you can go into the show notes and you can ask a question there. And I can say your name or not. Some people that's thrilling, some people that's scary as heck. Regardless, thank you so much for being you, for bringing your light and your experience into this world. And as always, be sure to have fun along the way. It has been so great to connect here. If this episode resonated with you, please be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who you want to have more of these chats with. And as you move throughout your day, remember, your energy is your superpower. As you pay attention to it and trust it, you can watch your entire life begin to transform.